Hey there, and welcome to the latest episode of Healthy Happy Humans podcast with myself, Dave Sheehan, high performance coach, and now 30 years dedicated to educating, motivating, and hopefully inspiring people just like yourself, living to live life, truly live life, and to realize your full potential. And on this particular episode of the podcast, I address the question that people commonly ask themselves, and I expect that you have asked yourself before, maybe even on a regular basis. What is my purpose? Like, what is this all about? Like, do you find yourself sometimes feeling quite lost, not knowing, what you're doing in life, feels a bit aimless? You kind of thinking to yourself, is this all there is to it? Is this it? Is this what my life is all about? Kind of questioning your purpose and what you're doing and feeling there's something else out there, like feeling you're not living your purpose. Would this be you? Is this you? Is this your experience? Again, something to let us know in the comments for sure. But importantly to ask yourself this, because I'm sure you have at various times in your life, ask yourself, what the hell is my purpose? What am I doing? Is this all? And you, as I said, you're feeling lost. Now, there's a couple of things here. The biggest issue around purpose is that people feel it's there. It's like it's hidden somewhere, like it's under a rock, and you need to find it. You need to go and source it and find it somehow. However, that isn't actually what purpose is about. That isn't what your purpose is. Purpose is something that even will evolve over time, will change over time. It's something that you discover via action. It's not something, as I said, you just find that's just there. That it's like you were born, this was your purpose. Now, you can live a life like I do in terms of feeling a certain way that you feel you're here for a certain reason. But even as I share about myself, my purpose changed over time and has changed, and I'm sure it will continue to change, even to small little degrees. But I want you to get zoned in on the fact that your purpose is not something you need to find. It's not a thing. Okay? It's something that you need to evolve into. It's something that you taking action will bring about that reality of going, you know what, this is what I feel my purpose is. This is what I want to put my energy into. Okay. And it's like, even if I take my own example, when I was a kid and teenager, I wouldn't say I had a particular purpose. Again, it was a very difficult time for me in my own head. I didn't want to be here, or suicidal and so on, but I kept it all internal. I didn't have it external. So everyone thought I was in great form and happy out, but internally I did not want to be here. So I was very lost growing up and as a teenager into late teens. And then when I got into exercise and into fitness, it lit a fire in me. It gave me a spark. It through that experience. That's what I'm saying. It's about your experiences, through living, your experiences, things that you feel. That's where you start to find your purpose. But it was through myself very reluctantly getting into a gym just to shut someone up that kept asking me to go into the gym, and I eventually went with them to shut them up, but I never came out. And that's now 31 years ago. Went in, loved the feeling, and within a couple of months or so, really had a good impact from it, a positive impact mentally and physically. And I felt a desire to help others feel the same. So I started to feel a bit of a purpose. And that's where I got my first qualification. I worked in the university gym. I started helping people, and I felt I had purpose and had such an important, you know, booster to my self-esteem and confidence and how I felt about myself and self-image and so on, because I felt I had a bit of purpose. I was there helping people. And that's the one thing about purpose as well. That's why I want to stress you, it's not a thing. Like, here's a question for you. How can you help other people? Or in what ways do you help other people? It might be something you do, don't even do. No, it's like subconscious. If you actually stop and think about it, you go, you know what, I do all of this for other people. And there's a common thread of the type of things that you do. It could be just being a good listener. You might be able to give great perspective. You might be very good at something, and it doesn't always have to be a skill, but it could be something you're good at that you turn into a purpose. You just happen to have a knack for it. So it could be that, it could be helping people in some way. That's why, again, you're living, your experiences will teach you things. But for me, as I got more and more myself from exercise and fitness and improving nutrition and so on, I felt compelled to help other people, and I had a purpose. And I basically went from there to working for a year in another gym after I finished university, and then I set up on my own. You know, for 12 years, I ran my own chain of fitness centers, which absolutely exploded. Seven-figure business, 5 different sites, 55 staff. You know, I felt drive, I felt purpose. I was there to help people. I was building an empire. That was my purpose. And because I was so zoned into my purpose and I was so entrenched in it in a positive way, and I felt it was what I was literally here for and what I was to do every waking second, it exploded because I had the energy around it. And that's the key thing as well. You know, you need to have the right energy around it, which I'll talk about in a little while as well in its importance and how you create it. But you need to have the right mental and physical energy to put it into whatever you feel your purpose. However, on 6th of July 2005, my purpose changed. My purpose changed when my son was born. And the second I caught a glimpse of him for the first time, and especially when I first held him in my arms, my purpose became him. You know, that was my purpose. Now, I still, for the years to come after that, and since then, like he's 21 now, I still have worked hard. I still have had ambition. I still have helped people. I've still run multiple businesses, whether it be offline or online, different countries, so on. But he was always my purpose. He was my purpose because it was, how can I give him the best life? How can I be the best father that I can be? How can I be the best role model and example that I can be? And, you know, again, experiences help with that because, again, even like went through amazing times in terms of business and financially, went through very challenging times, business, financially, personally, and so on. But him observing how I dealt with that and how, you know, I reacted to it and how I was human and emotionally, I was affected in a bad way, but I still got up and got on with things and found solutions and so on. You know, that was being a good role model to me. And that's what, like, I can honestly say there were times in my life, I've had some amazing times in my life. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But I've also had some very dark times. And, you know, people who put themselves out there and take risks as they're perceived and challenge themselves will always have dark times as well as the good times. But I've had dark times. And I can say, hand in heart, the only reason I got out of bed during all those dark times was my son. The only reason I didn't get up for myself, I got up because I had to get up for him to show him, one, to provide for him, because that was very important, obviously, but two, to show him when the chips are down, when the darkness is there, when you're really challenged in life, you don't fall over and keel over and do poor me. You go into resourcefulness, you go into solution mode. I needed to be a good role model example for him because I know and knew that life is a roller coaster, it's ups and downs. So if he sees his dad in the downs just giving up, what's he going to do? Monkey see, monkey do. I want to be a good role model. And again, for me, my purpose is to be a good dad, and importantly, good role model, to create a good human with the right morals and values and mindset and ethics and work ethic and all that stuff. So as I said, he became my purpose. Now, as he has got older and as he's gone on his own path, my purpose, well, it's always been to help people. Now it's moved more and more to making a positive impact in people's lives because now it can be a sole focus. Now, I also, again, have more fun in my life because I'm at that phase of life when I can have that. But my purpose now is how can I help more people? You know, so I always stress to people I have two purposes in my life. I said this for a long time. My son and make a positive impact to people's lives. So I truly feel I live my purpose. I wake up each morning with enthusiasm, with drive, with energy. What can I do today to help people? That's why every day I'm sharing stuff. I'm coaching people, working with our Healthy, Happy Humans community, running events, speaking on podcasts, all that kind of stuff. I don't need to do that stuff, but I do it because I want to help people. That's my purpose. But my main message in sharing that, and I hope me sharing my own personal journey has been helpful, but your purpose will change. So again, initially didn't really have a purpose, felt really lost, got into health and fitness, then felt a bit of a purpose to help people, then it really exploded to be a complete laser focus. That was my sole purpose, and to build an empire and help as many people as I could. Then it, in an instant, changed to being my son, stayed being my son, while a secondary purpose being to help people. And then as the years went on and he became more self-sufficient and independent and it went his own way, it shifted back to helping people and making a positive impact in people's lives. Does that make sense? And when you live your purpose, it feeds your soul. You feel at peace, you feel happy, you love what you do. And, you know, this is what you need to look for. And as I said, it's not just about being good at things. Sometimes people will go, what am I good at? And they feel that needs to be their purpose, and that's all they do. You can be really good at something, it doesn't mean that has to be your purpose. Now, I would ask you the question, in what way today can you be of help to someone else? In what way today can you make someone feel better? In what way today can you improve someone's life or quality life or life experience? They're the questions I would ask myself if I was you. And within that is where you find your purpose. You'll find more purpose there. What will energize you? What will make you feel energy at the thought of doing it? It's like me doing this podcast. I don't have to do this. I don't get paid to do this, but I do it because it's another way of me helping people. It's part of my purpose. Same as all the posts out there, speaking at events, running events, writing, books, all this kind of stuff. Don't have to do any of it, but it's part of my purpose. So that's why I do it. So, I suppose another thing is, what would you do if even if you weren't paid for it? What would you do even if you weren't paid for it? That's another good angle in terms of for your purpose. But I want you to especially get very zoned in on, you will find your purpose through living, from action, and from experiences. It's within that you will find your purpose. Okay? It's like even within the way I help people. Start off with me helping people with exercise, then became a bit more about nutrition, so it's nutrition exercise. As time has gone on, it's become far more about psychology and human behavior. That's what really drives me on. Human psychology, human behavior. And throwing sports psychology then as well as another kind of tangent on it. That's what really drives me. That's the stuff I really love, and helping people with that, because again, the mind is a control tower. So I understand that. And I know if people don't get their mind in order, they're not going to improve their lives. So again, and more niche part of my purpose is helping people with their human psychology, their human behavior, and so on. So again, it changes over time. That's the important point I want to make to you. So stop searching for the thing, live your life, take action, become self-aware of what you enjoy doing. What would I do if I wasn't even being paid for it? And also, how can I help people? How do I help people? And again, it's within that. And like, you might go through a traumatic experience. Like, let's say, for example, someone who was abused as a child, they may end up becoming a counselor for abused children, and that lights their fire. That is what they do, and they look forward every day with enthusiasm to going out there and making that small impact on those people who are experiencing something like they experienced. An ex-footballer might go start coaching kids, set up an academy. Like, say, for instance, someone like Stephen Gerrard, who'd be one of my biggest role models. Again, his career finished, he's managed, he's coached, but he also has an academy. And I'm sure he gets huge joy out of seeing the kids coming through it and giving them the best possible chance of breaking through to go professional. When you hear of top professional footballers, especially because that's the sport I follow most, who have academies, and I think it was Thierry Henry, one of his players, is in the French team at the moment at the World Cup. So, there's such pride in that. I'm sure that's what gives him purpose now, to help others from his experience of being a professional footballer, sharing his experience, sharing his enthusiasm, sharing his energy, sharing his knowledge of how the whole thing works. And again, you need to impress the whole same thing on yourself. So I hope that's kind of making sense and knitting things together a bit and giving you a bit of a different perspective on purpose and how to find your purpose. Learning is really important. I've spoken a good bit about energy. If you don't have the right energy, it's hard to have purpose. If you don't have the right energy, you're not going to feel motivated. Even if you're doing your purpose or you're kind of finding your purpose, if you're not energetic, internally, the energy you give off, mentally in tune, brain working well, you're not going to be able to live your purpose well. And even if you are, you won't get the same joy from it. And again, it's such an important foundation of healthy, happy humans, in that your health, your well-being, mental, physical, emotional, and so on, it needs to be a foundation. It needs to be a very strong foundation for everything else. So when you prioritize your health and well-being, and you make your body work like the incredible machine that it was designed to work like, so you have optimal energy within your body, your brain's working the way it's meant to work, you're sleeping well, you're hydrating, your gut is working the way it's designed to work, your immune system is super strong, everything's working the way it's meant to, it's primed for success. You have far more energy than to give to your purpose. So this is why I wanted to come back to as well, that you taking care of yourself will have a big impact in, one, you being able to have clarity around, identifying what your purpose is, but two, most importantly, delivering on your purpose. Delivering on your purpose every day. So make sure you're prioritizing your health and well-being. Quality sleep, staying hydrated, eating, good quality whole foods at least 6-7 days of the week. Loads of other little bits and pieces within it. Always work on yourself. Like I'm always stressing, be committed to evolving into a better version of yourself. And evolving is a key word there, and importantly, better. There's no best. You can keep getting better and better. And that also ties in again with the purpose, where again, it's an evolution. You keep evolving. Like I've shared about myself. I'm 48 now. I've evolved in terms of what my purpose has been all the way since I was a child. It's changed at different times, but it's changed because of life events, experiences, things I've discovered, actions I've taken, paths I've been led down, stuff like that. Okay. So, make sure you're giving yourself energy. Make sure you're living a life that gives you energy. All right. So again, go back to the initial question. Are you feeling lost? Are you wondering what the hell your purpose is? Are you kind of feeling, life's a bit aimless and you're kind of questioning, is this it? Is this all it can be? Is this all my life's going to be like for the next few years and decades and so on? Good news is, no, it doesn't have to be. But you need to take action to change it. If you don't take action to change it, then that's exactly what it will be. And unfortunately, that's what the majority of people's lives are like. And that's why it's not fulfilling. That's why it's not satisfying. And this is why it's so important as well that you get very clear of what is your version of happiness, success, fulfillment. Be very clear on that, because again, your purpose will be tied to that as well. So what again feeds your soul. Like me, there's no more bigger satisfaction for me than to one, know my son is doing well and he's happy, and two, to see proof or to get proof communicated to me from a client who has had a life change in some shape or form. To see that they're progressing, that they're growing, that they're evolving, that feeds my soul. When I get those messages or see people post in our community about their wins and how they're feeling, it feeds my soul. It fills me with joy. It gives me again purpose. Okay? So, work on just taking action. Ask yourself the question again, how can I help someone today? How do I normally help people? What way can I add to people's lives? And an action step for you today, actually, because it depends on what way you normally live. But today, I want you to take action. At the end of this podcast, I'm going to give you a call to action. Your action today is, that's just right now. How can I help one person today more than I've helped or differently than I've helped before? And to go out there and do it. And do that and see how it feels. See what that experience is like. And then every day, aim to help at least one person in some shape or form. Because it doesn't have to be anything major. Just having a conversation with someone could be brilliant for their day, because they may be lonely, especially if they're elderly people, maybe their partner has passed, their kids are grown up, they're on their own. We're social beings, we like to interact, we need to interact. Could be helping someone across the road. Like yesterday at the beach, guy came along and he was with his partner, and he's the wheeler and trying to go through the sand and stuff. And again, he's very bad Parkinson's. And I was watching him. I thought, you know what? What am I doing? Go over and help. So I went over and said, do you want some help? Where do you want to go? And I basically helped him to get to where he wanted to go, helped him to get over like a small little fence that he struggled to get over. And we had a lovely conversation, human interaction, and off we went. I didn't have to do that. There was loads of people around me could have done it, but I took it upon myself to do it. That doesn't mean I'm amazing, right? I'm not telling you for that reason, but I wanted to make a positive impact in that person's life. And I'm sure from the fact I helped them and I was human, got them to where they wanted to go, and then we had a nice little conversation and a bit of a laugh. That added to their life. It added to my life as well. It added to my day. So again, we can all have impacts on other people, and just really find your purpose. How can I help other people? So ask yourself that question. Today, help even one person in some shape or form. Stop focusing on what am I good at, and instead start asking yourself, how can I help people? In what way can I help people? And you'll find your purpose. And don't have such pressure on yourself to have a purpose. Let it kind of morph organically, because it will. Once you take action, take action today, moving towards what it is that feels like it may be your purpose, and look at your life experience and so on. So I hope this episode has been helpful to you. We'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts, your questions, your experiences even. Share what your purpose is, if you know what it is. Share it in the comments, or if you prefer, send me a message. But please as well, one thing I ask you guys, again, I do this for free. I create these episode series out there with you for free because I want to help you. One thing I ask of you, follow and subscribe. And also an extra thing would be amazing if you would share it with even just one person. That'd be something you could do today. Share it with one person who you know will help and positive impact. But please follow and subscribe because the algorithms kick in because of that kind of thing. So hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll have another great one next week. Again, I'm dealing with questions I get asked, or the most common questions people are being asked or asking online. So yeah, take care, keep taking action, keep evolving, and remain committed to evolving to a better version of yourself. And go out there, identify where your purpose is, and start living with purpose.